T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's get ready to sucker!
Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time,
Big time.
running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of signs, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me.
Big time.
I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, from me, from me, from me.
Big time. Number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Monday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you on the other side of the table this time. We got Quinn leading the charge over on the left side. We got Billy Mack, we got Rob, and we got the legend himself, Mr. Paul Munson, down rounding things out. It is Monday, September 27th. It is a recap Monday here on the network. It is also National Day of Forgiveness, gentlemen. So the one question I have for you is, who are you ready to forgive today? And you're ready to make it public. Quinn, go ahead.
Nobody. I don't apologize for anything.
Okay. Billy, we're off to a good start.
That's a lie. First, that's a that is, oh boy, words that just want to come out right now. I will forgive. Man, I really
today, Junior.
Me. I'll just forgive me. I forgive myself every day for something. I do something silly every day, so I need to apologize for me. Not ready for. But I forgive Kate Kelly because she was very upset with me, and I tried to tell her 100 times, don't give Aaron Rodgers the football with any time left, and they did, and they scored, and they won.
So you forgive Kate for that?
Yeah. She was saying all kinds of mean things to me last night.
Amo and Billy for hire? Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I forgive. Oh, here we go. We've got a little bit of a discrepancy here. How are you forgiving Kate?
It's not my fault.
Yeah, she's using caps too.
All caps, dude.
All caps.
It's
Hammer
Aaron
down on the caps
freaking
lock.
Rodgers.
That West Branch Howland game was one of the best games I've seen all year. I agree with that. I'm gonna go forgiveness to. I don't know. Forgiveness to today, this COVID situation, man. My goodness, we had 4 games cancel all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, out of left field. So, man, I hope there's forgiveness. Maybe not mine, but I hope there's forgiveness for some of these senior parents in the whole situation. I think I heard today on Running Point from Dana Balish that 21 games have been canceled so far this year. That was before today. And less than 20 games were canceled all of last year. So something's got to happen here, boys, at some point. And I think I want to forgive the OHSAA, but
many more.
They're not taking charge. They're not leading by example. So Kate's back. No one cares about your fantasy capability. Rob, who do you forgive today?
What's it say?
I can't hear anything except background noise somebody's saying. What'd you say?
I got you. Who do you forgive today?
I mean, I'm not going to answer that truthfully until I confirm my answer with my therapist. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I will forgive Paul Munson for not informing me that while you're on your way to Wyndham, there is a split in the freeway.
Oh.
And GPS does not inform you of this split.
Stay to the right.
Stay
to the right.
Well, guess who left that out of the details? Hold on, wait. Let me make sure. Hold on. Yeah, that dude. So, anyways, half an hour past my exit later, I found my way. I'm just saying, I'll forgive Paul Munson for that for today.
I did the same thing when we went to, where would we go? Garrettsville.
If I was running late, I'd have flipped out.
To be fair, I did inform everyone that exit was off when we went to Garrettsville.
You did.
I didn't get that memo.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you were here yet. Paul, who are you forgiving today on this National Day of Forgiveness?
I forgive the cheerleading competition people who were in charge on Saturday for their just lack of just any kind of uniform communication with each other and how to run a freaking tournament because, listen, it's not that hard. Like, it's not that hard to do. Like, and they just seemed to screw it all up, and we were there for 6 hours, and it just was a big cluster. So I forgive them for not being able to run their tournament properly.
I felt like that turned into a little bit of a spark instead of forgiveness.
It might be. You got to tune into the end for that.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I want to bring up. Paul, you obviously were out on Friday. A nice job was done. But it wasn't Paul Munson. I will say that. I will give you 120% of my support for any time you do those things. You are on time. You make it run. You know what I mean? You have it. So anybody that ever gives you credit or takes away credit from what you do on any given Friday night, I will say best of luck because it was not bad. It wasn't the same. I'll leave it there.
I had at least a dozen text and phone calls on my way to Star Lake. Like, you're not at the game. What's going on? You're not here. Why aren't you here? What's happening? Oh my goodness, there's a funeral here. And I was like, no, I just happened to go to a concert. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, the whole time I'm driving and my messages keep popping up on the truck and she grabbed my phone and she's like, we are never going anywhere on a Friday night again. She goes, this is during football. She goes, this is insane. And all day Saturday, I'd see people at this cheer competition. They're like, hey, we didn't see you last night. We didn't hear you last night. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I took a Friday night off.
That is not allowed. That's not permitted ever again. It wasn't bad, and that's the thing is it's not that it was a bad experience. It just was not Paul Munson. It wasn't. It felt weird. It just felt weird from our box over, and especially on homecoming, man. It was weird. Like there was a 5-minute period of just dead silence after the South Range Raiders ran through the banner. And everybody was like,
that's what I heard.
What do we do now? And like I'm so used to and accustomed to the timing that we came on, and then Randy and I had to fill time for 5 minutes and talk about something that we did not anticipate. So we basically gave the background of Randy Dominguez. So I gave the documentary of the Domino.
And I will say the drive all the way down there, I had 2 games on. I was flipping back and forth. I had our game on, obviously, so I was listening to you and Randy, and I flipped over and I was listening to Rob. And I got that all the way until I got through East Liverpool, and I crossed over into West Virginia, and then all hell broke loose, and I got nothing. So I was like, all right.
They're still waiting on the internet out there.
Yeah.
They can gamble, but they can't have the internet.
Nope.
It is obviously it's a Monday edition, so we will talk about and recap some of these games, what we thought was the best game, maybe some games that surprised us. But before we get to that, we have to talk about the Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. So the question today, boys, I had it and I lost it. Would you rather be the first person to explore a planet? Yes, a planet, or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease. First person to explore a planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease. Mr. Munson?
Oh, I'm curing a disease, man. You're a hero then. And how many thousands, if not millions of people that you affect by curing something with a pill. So, yeah, I'm doing that all day long.
Or a jab. Don't forget about the jab. The jab's all the I don't know what it is. Whatever now.
Yeah, whether it's a shot or a pill. I mean, listen, if I'm saving people's lives all day, I don't care about some other planet. So,
Rob,
I couldn't care less about outer space. Me personally, can you imagine the way they would roll out the red carpet for everything? Hey, you know what? While we're at it, could you imagine the red carpet that would be rolled out for you everywhere you go? I would probably never have to pay for anything again. Hang out with whoever I want, do whatever I want, go to any vacation site just because I cured a disease and saved millions of people. So you can have the planet.
I think I would be,
unless it's like herpes or something, then people would be like, dude, that's great, but sorry.
I think I would explore a planet. Just because there's some days that I don't want to be here. I don't want to be on this planet with some of these people that exist and coexist on this planet with us. So if you're on another planet, you can first everything. Like you could have the common cold is cured because you have different oxygen or hopefully have oxygen. So I'm a nerd with the Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff like that. So I think it'd be cool. I'd be scared as hell because I don't like heights and I don't like going in an airplane, let alone outer space. But I think I would like to explore a planet. Be the first to do it.
Well, everybody knows that we actually never went to the moon or never been in outer space, so that's all that's So it was all done like in a digital set and surroundings, and that's just all fake. So I would absolutely cure some sort of disease and get paid. Show me the money.
Quinn?
100% agree. Give me money. I'm curing a disease. 100%. Because why would I care about faking going visiting a planet? We can do that in the back room right here with a green screen. We go visit Pluto. Who cares?
I could do that depending on who we're hanging out with on a Saturday night. Oh, kidding.
How about Prater's 66-yard game-winning field goal? Unbelievable. We'll get to that here in a minute.
It wasn't.
Everybody lost a lot of money on that.
I know somebody lost $2,500 just straight up off that game.
Yeah, same person.
Yep. Okay, let's talk.
It was
recap.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse me. I have a little bit of a cough, so I've got a cough drop.
Oh,
in as well.
the cough's back.
I hate it. I hate it. All due to air conditioning. I'm blaming it on air conditioning because the throat hurts too. But no fever, and that's the biggest thing if you listen to the radio. Boardman at Benedictine. Was anybody surprised by the outcome of this game? Boardman hung in there for a while, and then all of a sudden, Cleveland at halftime it seemed like Cleveland Benedictine turned it on. Anybody surprised by the way that Boardman hung, or the final score with Benedictine looking like they had control from the jump?
I kind of felt like Boardman would hang around for at least a half, and then Benedictine would kind of take over, and that's, I mean, basically what happened. So that's kind of, everything was, for me, spot on.
All right. Crestview was a really good game. Really good game. Probably, arguably, one of the games of the night here on the network. Anybody surprised by the Quinn? Jeez.
That's 70. So close. Oh, wait.
Good.
Good.
I don't know whose background noise that is, but that's all I can hear.
It's Paul's.
Paul, tell everybody to sit down.
Quinn.
It's not me. You can when you mute me, you still there's somebody else. Like it sounds like somebody's TV or somebody's walking around. It's not me.
Yeah, there's a TV. I hear. Yeah.
I found out that when my dogs walk around, the way you hear it, because I went back and listened to Fridays, so I kicked the one outside for the hour, and I'm looking at like every time he goes to hop off the couch, I want to be like, hey, stay on the run. Because you can, that clack, 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 clack. Nah.
It's because we don't have the best of the best equipment here at YSN. We're just chicken wire and duct tape everywhere we go. Brookfield and Crestview was a good game. Wasn't entirely surprised the outcome, but I thought Crestview was going to make a go at it at the end there, and they just couldn't muster anything together. Garfield keeps on keeping on, man. They're studly. The Lisbon-Palestine game, a lot of us put our faith in the Bulldogs. It was 6-6 the last time I looked, and then didn't see a final until after my game. 28-6 was the final there. Lisbon coming up big, and I think just outlasting Palestine on that one. Paulie, your thoughts?
Man, I mean, listen, there's a couple of us that went 24-2. And this was the one loss for me that I'm like, damn it. And then all of us lost the Sebring game. You know, that was a heartbreaker there for everybody. But I don't know. I mean, listen, Tony had me fired up, man. He had me believing. He had me thinking this is it. This was the week. And they planned and it just got away from him. And I'm like, you know what? Come on.
We just have trust issues with coaches from here on out.
We just got to go with our guts, man. Go with your gut. It never usually leads you wrong. So,
Paul, was there one game that you looked at and thought, wow, I didn't see that one coming?
You know, the one game I was surprised with was Howland. Hung in there against West Branch. I mean, they only lost by 3. And I was
that was at the end, man. They could have won that game, too.
Yeah, I was surprised by that because, I mean, we all know how West Branch is right now. And I was like, West Branch is probably going to go in there and lay the wood to them. And then all of a sudden, Howland stuck in there. And like Rob said, they had a chance to win that at the end. And I'm like, wow. I mean, they kind of showed up a little bit in that game. So I was impressed there.
You know, that game just in my mind solidifies what I've been thinking for a while about West Branches. First off, I think Howland's not as bad as people may think they are, but I think West Branch is not as great as they believe that they are, or a lot of people do on this show, mainly Michael Page.
Well, Page is a West Branch guy.
It's okay. I'm still listen. He ain't. We're 19 minutes in. He hasn't said not one thing yet. So.
Well, and listen, I fully expect the Michael Page West Branch / Browns smack talk coming up within the hour. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Rob,
it's you, Rob.
What?
Your TV's on back there. Can you?
First of all, you seriously think I would leave my TV up? I'll go show you the volume right now. You can barely hear that TV.
I hear someone's TV.
That's not that. I guarantee you that. So, anyways, DJ, before you started rudely interrupted, what was that?
What was the game that you saw? Paul! It is Paul!
It is Paul.
It might be the little kids talking, but there's a TV that is just playing in the background.
Yeah, it's definitely the little
now
kids
he's yelling
talking.
at the kids. Look at him. Now he's yelling at the kids. You shut your mouth. You shut up. Daddy's trying to do a talk show.
He's sitting there like, I'm turning this damn bus around right now.
When I'm muted, I still hear that TV or whatever is in the background, even when I'm muted.
I promise you, that TV's on mute, bro. That's just for show. That's just to make people think I watch sports all the time and know what I'm talking about.
Billy Mack just muted himself. He's the guy. Guilty party. Guilty party.
There's no TV or nothing on here.
I purposely try and make sure that there's.
I hear it.
I try and make sure there's no noise in the background when this starts, because I hear it when I go back.
You hear it now? Because I don't.
And there's nobody walking around here. I just heard the clacks right now.
That was Billy's dog, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's my dog, the clacks.
That's what it is. See, it's the clacks.
There's a TV on somewhere.
There is a TV. I heard it.
Here, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You ready? There, it's muted.
It was you.
And it's gone.
That could have been. I had that thing on like volume 3.
It was you.
Well, then I apologize publicly. And guess what, Paul? I'll forgive you again today.
It's National Forgiveness Day.
See?
I can't believe that that's my TV. I had that thing turned almost all the way down. That's crazy how the sound picks up on these.
And I only knew it was you because the guy in the background on the TV like made a noise and yelled, and you could see the guy's face doing it. I'm like, it's right there.
All right, so going forward, the TV will be actually muted.
All right. And what game surprised you, Rob? Let's go.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Actually, I was gonna say the same thing with Howland, because if you're watching the highlights, Howland, I totally forget what happened, but the kid, I forget. I think I want to say a muff punt or something. I can't remember, but they had a chance to get the ball right back, and the way they were driving, it was Howland's running back, number 22. I forget his name, and then West Branch's quarterback. That kid was. I think they both scored. Yeah, they both scored like 10 touchdowns to combine. So if Howland gets the ball back at the end, I mean, realistically, they're going to go right back down there and either get a field. I'd want to say they could have got a field goal for the win, but that was my surprise, because like we were talking about Howland, it seems like they were kind of going back and forth in their season, and then they get an absolute juggernaut with West Branch, and they could have beat them. So that was my surprise.
I called it was going to be close, and I think I actually called Howland winning that game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to pretend like West Branch isn't the real deal, though. I mean, they've beat everybody that's been put in front of them. How do you say they're not when they have literally done everything that people have asked them to do? So, interesting to me. Billy, who was your game to keep an eye on?
Yeah, it was. Listen, I picked Waterloo to upset Lowville last week, and it came down to the wire. And I was looking pretty good going in late in that fourth quarter. With Waterloo was ahead, and I really thought I was going to pull this one off.
Quinn, how about you?
Western Reserve, Mineral Ridge. I didn't expect Reserve to shut out Mineral Ridge at all. I figured that would be a lot tighter, a lot closer than it was. But Reserve's playing good football.
I was really impressed with Beaver Local again. Like, I talked to Coach McKenzie on Saturday, and I said, hey, any chance you want us back down there, because you guys have not lost since we've been there? And he said, yeah, anytime you guys want to come down, you're always welcome here, which is good. Paul, where are we this week, by the way? Not to put you on the spot. Are we?
I think now you're going to make me look.
Sorry, buddy.
That's okay. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was because it's Fitz and Canfield. So, yeah, I think we're at Canfield this week.
All right, so we'll be at Canfield for Primetime Live coming up this week. The other game that I thought was interesting was Mogador JFK.
That was the game I was just going to say.
Go ahead.
No, it's your turn, but I was looking at scores, and that was another one that like we talked about. Big time, two big schools that were going to, always deep in the playoffs. 2-point games.
Well, you look at, and this is what's going to piss me off, and not to get crazy, but on Friday I heard all about how JFK is overrated on a radio broadcast. And look who they're playing. Look who JFK is playing all year. They're playing Mogador, who handles some of our area's best teams a lot of times, and that's what, D6, which is a division up from JFK. I mean, they give Springfield fits. They give who was it? Was it last year? McDonald, I think. They constantly give McDonald fits, and you've got JFK, who's a Division 7 now. They are very well known in Division 7. They were in the state championship last year, obviously. But how does that make them not a true contender when they're playing 2-point games against a perennial playoff powerhouse in Mogador?
Number two in their region, Mogador, in Division 6.
Does that make
Number
sense?
9 in the state.
Yeah. Am I crazy? Am I taking crazy pills, or is it truly like people are just down on JFK because they're losing games to better teams?
Yeah, I mean, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, Mogador," no, Mogador. I mean, they played out of their 5 games prior to that. 4 of the teams they played. I'm sorry, 5. Yeah, they said that they were 4-2, 4-2, 4-0. I mean, they weren't playing any cakewalk games there. So I mean, Mogador was a tough team for JFK to play, and they only lose by 2 points.
Which will help them point-wise, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that. I mean, my question is, do people just want JFK to play only Division 7 products around
Listen,
this area?
man, people just want JFK to lose. I've been trying to tell you this for years, man. Like, they just enjoy. It's kind of like the Yankees. We all poke fun at the Yankees when they lose, and that's, JFK gets that same, concept. They get that same idea of people enjoy watching them lose the same way they enjoy watching Mooney lose, and they enjoy watching Ursuline lose.
It's the parochial school thing. People people want to crap on the Catholic schools and say, well, we hope they all lose because all they do is recruit kids and XYZ. But I mean, listen, JFK's, their schedule doesn't get that much easier. They get a 4-2 Rootstown team this week. Now they get St. Thomas Aquinas, who hasn't won, but then they get Cleveland Central Catholic, and they're going to end the season with a D5 Southeast team that is no joke. And Rob saw them firsthand on Friday. So, I mean, their schedule doesn't.
And just to go back to what you were saying about Southeast too, the only reason I picked Wyndham, I think, was just because of the research and everything. I couldn't find too much on Southeast, but I found out how good that team was just watching them. They're stud packed.
I think it's crazy. And Billy,
Southeast has a huge area to pull from with their kids, like a huge landmass of area.
Is that kind of like Beaver Local? Like Beaver Local used to have.
It is like Beaver Local. It's so big in Portage County of where they get to pull from.
Yeah,
and not a lot of people, but just the property.
The area.
And that they're sitting number 5 in Region 5 or Region 17, Division 5. So they're the 5th best team in that region. It's packed with Kirtland and South Range and Garfield. So Edison's right there too. So
traditionally, Southeast has been a very good football program for the last 20 years. They've always been in the playoff mix. Not too many wins in the playoffs, but they're always solid football team. So, and Wyndham always has a hard time beating them.
I'm really interested about this game, guys. We've kind of dodged it because of how close we are to this game. Sebring, Jackson, Milton. Was anybody surprised? What was the feeling going through? Obviously, we all know Coach very well. We all picked Sebring. We all lost. Jackson, Milton, they did what they had to do. What was the frustration? What did you guys see? What did you guys hear? When you don't have your the one thing that I did hear was Sebring should have kicked the field goal. Sebring didn't have their field goal kicker, their first string kicker, and they didn't have their second string kicker. So how do you kick a field goal with a third string kicker that doesn't even exist?
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah. And Coach, when I talked to him the other day, he was listening. He goes, I had a chance to win that game at the end. They had a chance. From what I understand, they threw a ball up and, it was towards the end zone and one of their guys just didn't come down with it. It was good defense. So, they were right there, being at home. Listen, like you said, we all picked them. And that was one loss that we all took in that pick 'em because we all were like, hey, Coach has this. Sebring right now, they just need that little click and just didn't happen. So
Amo was calling the game. He says Elijah going down early hurt Sebring. He said they had to change this to the spread. That's always a problem. And with with these D7 schools and these schools that don't have a lot of players out, you are really, really succumbing to, situations like this when you only have one or two players, right? Like that's tough. And unfortunately,
Well, I will say, kudos to coach to making the adjustment to knowing like, hey, this is where we have to go with the numbers and players that we have. But on the other side of that coin, like how difficult it is to practice this all week and then boom, we're going to go right to the spread. I mean, it's a different philosophy. It's tough to do. It's, on one hand, it's a kudos for making that decision. And on the other hand, it's like you got to have that coach's conversation like, hey, if somebody's over there pushing, we have to go to the spread because we can't move the football this way.
So kudos to Jackson Milton. I mean, you got to give them love too because they finished the job. They did what they were supposed to do to get the win. So we can't sit here and dog Jackson Milton at all because, listen, they outlasted Sebring. And that was the name of the game on Friday is outlast. It's kind of like Survivor.
Don't let the door slam.
Yeah, but now, unfortunately, we did kind of allude to it earlier in the show. We haven't talked exactly too much about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, both those programs are down.
Yep. Down, unfortunately, you have that. Jackson Milton down. Ridge is down. Western Reserve is down. And McDonald's down. So that's six.
Yeah, well, I know, like, from last week, we still had the East Howland game. Howland's still looking for an opponent. Middle Ridge now looking for an opponent since Jackson Milton's down because this is Middle Ridge's homecoming. So they want to find somebody to play. Lowellville's still looking for somebody because Sebring's down, and Sebring had the home game. And Western Reserve is looking for somebody because McDonald's down. And it's just crazy that all those schools are all in the same league.
Does Lowellville and McDonald play each other this year? Right? They're in the MVAC together. Are they not? Have they already played?
I'd have to go back and look. But
there was talk about Springfield. This was before Sebring was canceled, obviously. But there was talk of flipping the Springfield game to play Sebring this week, and that was obviously all vacated whenever Sebring got
right.
Went down.
I think this is one of those cases where, like, even if you play a team later down the road, you might want to think about moving it up if it's possible right now. If that window's there, because you're not guaranteed. Yep. Exactly. You're not guaranteed. So get it in while you can. Don't go play. These two schools, if Lowellville can play and Middle Ridge can play, and they haven't played yet. I haven't looked at the schedule, so I have no idea. But
they play week 9. They
need to go. They need to play this week because it's Monday. You can figure it out. You can prep. You got no excuses. If you want to move the game to Saturday, by all means. With Ridge, I don't know because of homecoming. You might have to be on a Friday night, but go play them. It's Monday, so go play that. You should absolutely play that game, and it'd be even more perfect if the game was home for Middle Ridge already. If it's not,
it'd be at Lowellville in week 9.
Can you flip that for next year? I mean, that's an easy switch, but
you just say, hey, listen, you have 4 home games next year, and instead of 5. But those two have yet to play. You're looking at what we said, Western Reserve. Western Reserve hasn't played. They played Lowellville at the end of the year, so that's a game that maybe could be put on the books. They just played Middle Ridge, so they couldn't play them again.
Don't worry, Amo. We'll give you and Billy something to do on Friday regardless. Either you'll be out on a game or you'll be on the audible call with the rest of us. So it's just unfortunate. I mean, hopefully Howland can find a team. Hopefully these other teams can find a team to play. I know Howland's looking in Pennsylvania now because your options are very limited in Ohio.
Well, I don't know. With all these games being pushed around, I mean, there's opportunities. It's just, will somebody say yes to Howland?
Yeah, that's the thing. Do you want to go up and play?
Does Ridge play Howland usually? Because they're pretty close in proximity.
No. The smallest school that Howland's playing is looking at their record right now is a D4, and that was Poland, and then they play Canton South at the end of the year, and then they just play West Branch.
Do they not play? They don't play Kennedy this year because they normally play Kennedy. Howland does.
No,
they don't. Or did they?
That's been a rivalry they've been playing forever, as far as I can.
Saturday afternoon game too, if I recall.
And it's usually week 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get Canton South at the end of the year this year.
So I mean, again, we're not going to sit here and talk about COVID forever, but you feel for these seniors, do you not? Like, and these coaches, because they put together the game plan, and Coach Seidel, I'm sure already had his game plan working towards this week's game against Louisville. It's one that he's had on his calendar for a while and circled. Like, what do? Like, you're in a situation like this or limbo with some of these teams, and you go, do you just watch film? Do you just watch your film and try to critique what you're doing right?
I think it kind of goes back to like a lot of coaches saying, and we grew up with the same mentality as playing high school football is not a right, it's a privilege. And it kind of shows right now. This is a privileged time to have an opportunity to play football. I mean, I feel bad for the kids, and for the coaches and everybody involved. I mean, there's a lot of people involved when it comes to high school football or high school sports in general. But it just brings to light that it's a privilege to play a high school sport, and even more so now than ever.
I couldn't have summed it up any better myself, Rob. I mean, if you're a coach and you get whacked or you're on the verge and trying to look for a team, what are you doing with your team to prepare for the unknown?
It depends on the goals. You're going to talk to some coaches, they'll tell you that the goal is one game at a time. You're going to talk to other coaches that their goal is to win their league or get to the playoffs. You're going to talk to other coaches that are goals to win state. So each team and each mindset and each goal could be different. But when I think about what they're going through now, like everybody would normally feel horrible for anybody that has to go through this. At the same time, trying to find a positive in it, it could be worse. It could be last year. You know what I mean? So that's the way at least I look at it for the time being. But yeah, in the meantime, just watching everybody have to still endure. And, then you talk about, if you want to start crunching numbers, like, could these games realistically still be played? In my opinion, would always be yes, as long as you're testing or whatever. But yeah, and like I said, it can always be worse. And last year was, you talk about feeling bad for the kids. Last year was horrible.
Paul, let me twist this for you as we get to you. 21 games canceled up to today. We saw 4 games get canceled as of today. I guess 3 games, and we had the one from Howland and East, obviously. Do we have to go back to what we had last year, which was 50% capacity or less, in order to get the rest of the season off? And I'm talking, like, listen, most people are sitting here saying it's week 7. Yes, there's still 9 weeks left in this football season for some teams. Talk to me about where you think this is, and do we have to start scaling back in order to make these games happen? Because once you get into the playoffs, if you got COVID, you're out. That's it. It's over.
I don't think it, and the thing is like the number one argument people are going to say is, well, it's not the fans in the stands that are getting sick that are costing the games. It's the kids. And the thing is I think
I disagree with that.
I think that, the thing is it's not the fan. To me, myself personally, I don't think it's the fans in the stands that are affecting that much what goes on the field. The kids are the ones that are getting it sometimes. And not sometimes, it is the kids that are getting it. The kids are getting it, and that's what's going down. My thing is I think that, and this is my personal opinion. Again, my opinions are not those that are reflected here on the show, but what I think is going on is I think that it's arrogance at home. I think there's some arrogance with the parents at home that are just like, go out and do what you want to do. It's normal. Everything's fine. It'll be okay. Whether they've had a shot or whether they don't believe in the shot, whatever your thought is on that, I think it's that these kids they're going to dances. They're hanging out and having parties. They're having bonfires. They're going to Taco Bell. They're going to places and hanging out. And that's where they're getting exposed to a lot of this stuff. And, people are trying to say, well, maybe we should go back to wearing some masks and stuff. Listen, I hated wearing a mask, 100%, hated it. But if it's going to help these kids stay in school, if it's going to help these kids be able to play football games and volleyball games and soccer games and everything that they want to do and enjoy themselves their senior year, junior year, whatever it is, I'm for it. Help them out. But I think a lot of this is like they're just like, listen, everything's fine, even though it's not. We know it's not. We want to believe that it's fine, and we try to go out. Listen, I was at a concert on Friday. I understand. You know what I mean? And I was at a competition on Saturday and umpiring on Sunday. So I've been around a lot of people. I've had my shot, but that's my personal choice. But I think a lot of people are like, just go out and do the normal thing. And these kids are doing that because they're listening to mom and dad, and they're just going out and not being told, hey, be careful a little bit, don't like be so buddy next to somebody when you're out somewhere, because you never know what could happen. And the next thing you know, these kids they're coming down with it, they're getting tested, and boom, now you've knocked it out. How would you like to be that one or two kids that knock out your entire team in the playoffs, or you knock out,
And for the other side of the coin, here comes Billy Mack.
Yeah, I mean, the first question I would have is, who do you think's in the stands? You're saying it's not mom and dad; it comes from home. I mean, that's exactly what the issue is. I think it absolutely should be 50% capacity. It's not necessarily. Yes, those things that are also happening. What Paul's saying is these kids are going to Taco Bell, they're going to concerts, they're doing things, and people should do whatever if they want to do those things, they should absolutely do it, because that's what is allowed in the world we're living in right now. But I think you do have mom and dad in the stands, and those people are going to concerts and they are spreading it, and then they're taking it home to their kids. I don't necessarily believe it's just the kids are spreading it with just the kids. I think it's coming from home. I think I mean, Paul's right on a lot of those things. It's just on the other side of that coin is I do believe that 50% capacity would help out. I mean, do I think schools should do that? I don't know. I don't make those decisions. I'm glad I don't make those decisions, because we all know how pissed off all the parents were about 50% capacity when certain parents and grandparents couldn't go to it. And then they were just, kind of living in fear and terror of not being able to see their kids play football or any other type of sport. But I do think, yes, they should at least revisit the conversation of capacity, because we've been to a couple games this year and these people are right on each other. And now that it's getting worse, like you said, more games canceled today than all of last year. That's something to really revisit.
Michael Page says it's inevitable. There's going to be kids that get it no matter what safety measures are taken, sadly.
Right, and the idea is as less as possible. So, do you think that they're doing everything they can to prevent that today, or not?
Well, I mean, I'll cite the source. I was watching Today's Show last week, and they said that this is peaked. Everything's starting to come down again, the way we saw it right before summer. Locally here, that doesn't seem to add up. The math isn't adding up, as we're seeing more games get canceled from not just football. We're seeing volleyball, we're seeing soccer, we're seeing all of this. So I don't know where we're going wrong here. And not that anybody's doing anything wrong per se, but it's like obviously something is not adding up from the people not getting it standpoint. I don't know what it is.
The one thing too, it just dawned on me as we were talking, and somebody wants to throw that stat out there, like there's been more games canceled this year than last year, and we're in the week. We're going into week 7, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, yeah, 7. But this is week 7. We only had 6 weeks last year.
But Paul.
So, you know what I mean?
You're killing your own argument.
But if you eliminate 4 weeks. There was 4 weeks of games that never even happened.
So we played 6 weeks so far.
You've already beaten yours. If you just take this 6 weeks against that 6 weeks, we've had more cases or more cancellations.
Yeah, I mean, I see that argument on that part of it, but I mean, you had less weeks last year, so I mean, if not many, I mean, listen, we probably expect games to be canceled the rest of the way out, at least 1 or 2 a week. But if you take that and spread it out over 10 weeks compared to the 6 weeks we had last year, I think it's not as bad as they're making it.
Apples to apples. So you have to take, everything into consideration. We started a week early, which should have helped us because there was no COVID that existed in the summer, right? According to everyone, it just
right.
evaporated. So we had an extra week, technically, of the no COVID zone, and now we don't.
What's crazy is to get almost back on the full-blown sports is how long does it take until OSHA says, hey, everybody's open to playoffs because we've had so many cancellations in the state?
And what have we said? What have we said since week 1?
Right now they're saying all you need is 5 games to qualify for the playoffs. And everybody's going to probably get to those 5 games to say, okay, you've got your 5. We'll set that multiplier in there. And now here you go. And, Quinn, what are your thoughts 45 minutes in?
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
We didn't know you were here for a little bit.
All I saw was a floating head.
Hey, listen, I
Looking
hope
like
they go to
Ty over there
I hope
with
they
that
go to
red
no
shirt.
fans because then YSN's there, and that's all that I care about. So there.
Company guy.
That's all I care about.
Great drop in, Monty.
Absolutely.
All those years of broadcasting school finally paying off. We should probably take a break and pay some bills if we're smart. So we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we're pretty much right on the it's time for the spark. So take a quick break. Back after this right here on the YSN Power Hour presented by these great sponsors.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times. Because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Hey, welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. About 13 till. Again, from a standpoint of high school football, we got it covered. We covered COVID as well. Let's talk about the week that was for the local teams, the NFL. On the national stage, Paul, your team doesn't play till tonight, correct? Or did they play yesterday?
Oh, they played yesterday. They won in overtime against the Dolphins. So,
there you go.
Yeah, leading the AFC West. You know, listen, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I still think the AFC West goes through Kansas City. I know they just lost to the Chargers, but listen, until somebody beats them, every team in that section beats them, then I'm not going to count Kansas City out. So
1-2 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, it's okay. The Raiders are doing good. I'm happy they're 3-0, and I'll take it. You know, but you know, I did feel bad for Jeff yesterday because I mean, the Lions just find different ways to lose, and why not lose on a NFL record-breaking field goal that hits the post and then still goes in.
I saw that, and I saw the 68-yard attempt in Jacksonville that completely backfired on a 109-yard touchdown field goal return, which, listen, the Jaguars tried to be cute a couple too many times in that game, and it cost them dearly. If they just play regular football, they probably win that game. So Urban Meyer, I didn't believe it through 2 weeks. Now I'm a firm believer. He might not make it through the season. My guy might be on his way out week 8.
I mean, this is really the first time I think I've ever seen Urban Meyer get out-coached multiple times. And he's just flat out getting out-coached. He's just, I mean, they're not very good. Don't get me wrong. But, like, they're getting flat out-coached.
It's not good. I mean, throwing a flea flicker interception that goes the other way. I don't know that he's the right answer. I don't know if he's even an answer on the sheet. So We'll see how it goes.
It's not the college game.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence is going like, no wonder we beat him by 30 in the Sugar Bowl a couple years ago.
You know, and that's the transition a lot of those guys just can't make. Like you go from the college game that I'm sorry, the college game is slower and you can do what you want to do and pretty much bully somebody around when they're not as good as you are.
It's not as hard when you have 50 5-star recruits against a team that has 10. I'm sorry. Like,
and guys
it's Ohio
are just
State,
open.
It's Alabama, it's Clemson.
They're just open all the time. There's guys, if you watch a college game on any level, there's guys open, like wide open. In the NFL, you got to throw guys open. And he hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, because like you said, you're looking at like 15 blue chippers compared to like 5, and you get to the NFL and it's an all-star team. Both teams are all-star teams, and now how what is your worth? How good are you as a coach? Can you coach this all-star team that's better than that all-star team?
Well, it's the same explanation in college. Like everybody feels they need to play in college, no matter who they are. So this is what I tell everybody, and I'm nobody to be telling anybody this, but this is what I learned on my own accord, was if you are the 1 or 2 best players on your team in high school and you go to college, whether it's D3, D2, D1, JUCO, guess what? The best player on every team is there with you. So now you're on an all-star team essentially. And
it's the old big fish, little pond. You know, now you're little fish, big pond.
And that's why some people can't cut it, because their talent can only take them so far. And they're not willing to put that work in, because for 4 years they've been the best, or maybe for 12 years they've been the best on their team and made the all-star team every year. The NFL is the same way. Like, these college players think that they are the cream of the crop, and they are quickly weeded out when they go to the next level, and they are scout team defense or scout team offense or practice team. It happens all the time. I mean, you can name after name after name after name, like Dwayne Haskins, right? He's barely on the Steelers roster. He got cut. He was a first-round draft pick. He got cut by the Redskins. And it's not just for what he did. I don't care what anybody says. He has talent, but he was not living up to the first round.
You can even go further back. I mean, I'll just give you one. Troy Smith won a Heisman Trophy, you know, and then couldn't find his way on a field, period. Yep. I mean, there's plenty of guys. Terrell Pryor bounced around.
Florida State guy, Charlie Ward, wins the Heisman Trophy. Doesn't even get drafted. Doesn't even play football.
Great career with the Knicks, though.
And he went on to play basketball. You know what I mean?
I thought he chose to go to the NBA, though. It's not that he didn't get drafted. He chose to go to the NBA.
All the advisors were telling him, you're not NFL worthy. Like, you're not going to, like, don't even, like, try it. And so he just was like, well, if nobody's going to, like,
but he didn't. I'm pretty sure, though, he didn't. Like, I'm pretty sure he did not even try to go to the NFL.
Entered the draft, but at the same time, like, even though you don't enter the draft, you're not telling me that there's not somebody out there making a phone call going, hey, Charlie, we'd like you to come to our camp and just check it out. Nobody even did that. And like Quinn said, he went on to the NBA and had a great career and played well, and he was good in basketball at Florida State. But you're a Heisman Trophy winner. That says you're the best college football player in the country, and you don't play a lick in the NFL. So,
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. I would disagree.
That's how it's always been. I don't care how good you are in college. The transition from college to the NFL is so detailed and set up for failure so fast. And, you know, you watch Justin Fields yesterday. I mean, hey, that was my dude last year, you know, whatever. But then he comes into the NFL, and what I think his stat was he had a yard of passing. I don't care, because here's the thing. Like you're saying, everybody's open in college, but you have your linebackers in college. They're all not running 4.3 40s like they are in the NFL, weighing 250 pounds doing it. You don't have time. And then you look at a person like Aaron Rodgers last night. Those 2 throws at the end of that game, actually, the second one was wide open. That first one to number 17, I'm having a brain fart. But watching that throw drop where it should, and then you got
the back shoulder throws, the timing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how good those passes are. And then you got our boy in Jacksonville throwing off his back foot, bam, pick 6. Yeah, I mean, you know, the transition is just way too much. And if you're not ready, that's why I said my thing is, when you come into the NFL, if you're that good of a quarterback in college, you should, in my opinion, if you're smart and you want to watch that kid actually, you know, propel later on, he's got to sit for a year. He's got to learn the NFL defense, learn the cover 2, Learn how to get these guys open, like you were saying earlier, and get a year under your belt before you even think about starting an NFL game.
And
These guys want to bring these kids in so fast, and all they're doing is setting them up for failure almost every time.
I was just talking about that today at lunch, with these guys, because he's there, and then who was the number 2 pick?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, so those guys are both just being thrown in the deep end and saying, "We hope you swim." And the thing that sucks for them is like like you said, Rob. I agree. They should sit 1 year. I think those teams should go out and find a journeyman quarterback, a guy who's been in the NFL for a while. Here, you're a quarterback right now. Just get us through this year. But the bad thing is these GMs and these head coaches, their jobs are on the line, and they're sitting there going, well, listen, if we're going to stink, we might as well put the kid that we just drafted number 1 out there and put him out there and just say, well, we're going to stink with the kid who we think's our future. And you're, like Rob said, you're setting these kids up for failure because now they're going to get beat up. They're going to have just a shitty time in that first year. And listen, now next year they're behind the 8 ball, and you're like, well, we hope we're a little better this year. Where if you're going to stink, go stink with a journeyman quarterback and let this kid develop a little bit, and then let him try to save your franchise the next year.
It's not about that. It's not about winning and losing. What is it about?
It's about money. It's about putting people in the seats.
That's it. And that's we can get Sam Darnold and put him in the bright lights in New York, and he sells some tickets, and we get some PSLs and all that stuff, and then we move him along because now we got Zach Wilson.
This is going to be the year of the zero quarterback. These guys are all going to flop out. We'll never forget this year of the one of the overhyped classes of quarterbacks. And what's great about that is all these teams that drafted quarterbacks are going to stink this year. They're already showing it. So the draft next year, they're going to get to average teams with some talent around them. So they're going to have an opportunity to play for average teams, and could be like the Chargers where they were average and then they got a quarterback and then propelled them to be pretty good.
It's the Browns. I
mean,
and if the Browns didn't take 22 years to do it, it would be a perfect, it's your resume, right? But you're right, Billy. But here's the other thing. Trevor Lawrence is not a bad quarterback. I will stand by that all day long. If you put him on any team that drafted 11 down that would take him, I bet he would be a above average to really good quarterback for that.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but as we know with quarterbacks in the NFL, it's not how talented you are at first. It's about where you land. That is more important.
Well,
it's also you look at like when quarterbacks fall, they end up being to a really good team that have pieces around them, whether it's an offensive line or weapons on the outside or a good defense to protect them. There's different ways to think about it, and I think these guys are just on really bad football teams.
I couldn't care less about the Jets, but you got to feel so bad for Zach Wilson. My God.
Yeah.
At the end of each game, I'm sitting there like, that poor kid.
You know who doesn't feel bad for him? Sam Darnold, because he's doing his thing.
Yeah, that's one.
My guy is sitting there like, good luck, buddy. And he's throwing tutties. He's doing everything. Now, he doesn't have McCaffrey necessarily right now, but he's still doing his thing. All right, boys, you know what it's time for. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, head over to DickeyElectric.com and get yourself suited and booted today. I'm going to start off because I'm the season's over for the Steelers. It was a good 2-week run. I can appreciate this. I got spammed by about 30 Browns fans yesterday about, I don't hear any Steelers fans today. Listen, I get it. The last top 15 draft pick we had was Ben Roethlisberger. That's been 18 years. People are calling for Ben's head. It's not Ben's fault. It's really not. He's got 1.9 seconds to throw the football. When's the last 1.940 that you saw at the NFL Combine? So think about, they want these 40-yard passes that are deep down the field. It just doesn't add up. So if you're going to complain about the quarterback, whether you're a Steelers fan or you're not, understand that the math doesn't add up about 1.9 40-yard dashes to get your guy. Oh, by the way, you got a guy on you that's checking you at the line. So if you can't see by now that it's the offensive line, and whether they gel or whether they don't, the Steelers will have probably 12 losses this season because of that. And when you target your running back 19 times out of the backfield, it's not a good situation.
But you have to when you only have 1.9 seconds.
It's not a
you got to
good
check down.
If you saw that 4th and 10 play at the end of the game and you didn't laugh, like I just sat there, I laughed and I threw my remote. I was like, that's our play. That's 4th and 10 swing pass to Najee Harris is. Listen, I love the guy. I love Najee Harris. I think he's going to be a baller. But, man, he is not the savior of this year's Steelers. I can tell you that with certainty. Billy Mack.
I'm going to go to the Browns and some of the Browns fans. It's just relax. Let me pull on Aaron Rodgers, okay? Because we're all witnessing him again, just basically telling everybody to relax again. Browns fans, relax. We were supposed to beat Chicago. Every win isn't the Super Bowl. Okay, just relax. Yes, the defensive line actually showed up and they performed in a way that we thought they could perform. But again, against not a very good football team. Where were they against the Kansas City Chiefs when we needed them? You know, they could be sitting at 3-0 or 0-3 and us 3-0. Right. So just relax a little bit. You know, we still got a whole lot of season ahead of us. I'm excited. Be excited, but just relax.
Quinn?
So I got two. The first one's a positive. The whole weekend, you know, I got to do a game with Gary Niddle on Friday, which was awesome. Then Ohio State beat a glorified high school team on Saturday, which was nice. Then the Browns won on Sunday, and the Steelers lost. So it was a great weekend overall. It was awesome. And the negative one goes to the second stair from the top in my house. It tripped me this morning, and I fell down the stairs. And yesterday it got my sister, and she blew out part of her knee. So sometimes I'm going to take out the stair later on.
That's a stare from hell.
It is. It's evil.
Go for it.
I'm not in the mood to life coach today, and I'm feeding off of Billy's spark, and I'm going to go the exact opposite. And I am so happy that the Cleveland defensive line made me eat my words. And watching Garrett Miles yesterday was like watching a man play amongst boys. He absolutely dominated that football game. So watching the Cleveland's front seven do what they did yesterday, yes, okay, it was Justin's first start. I get that. But regardless, what I'm saying is watching that defense, I don't care if it was his first start or not, our defense literally gave the guy a stat of a passing yard and 9 sacks for 5.5 belonging to Garrett. So that's my positive spark.
Ah!
And he's gone. Hey, somebody asked me if that cat's Indian or not. I seen a dot in the middle of that thing.
Where did he go? We're just gonna leave it on this until he comes back.
He's beating the
kids. Yep, I'm back. Kids need picked up, so the ride's here, and I gotta let them know as they're wandering around the hallways. I see where you are. Anyway, my negative spark was, and I alluded to it earlier today, was the organization that they had at this cheer competition. We were supposed to be there at 9:30 in the morning, and then the competition didn't start for this age group until like 12:30, 1 o'clock. Yeah, they didn't finish up and get off the field and the competition be over till 3:30. So from 9:30 to 3:30, I'm sitting in the, it's why, listen, it's not the room or anything. Yeah, this is all sunburn here. I got just baked in the sun for 6 hours out there. And I was like, what the hell? And had to hurry home so I could get all the way to Springfield to umpire. So just the organization that went on there, it was a negative spark. I mean, there was parents in the stands just irate the whole time because next thing you know, the guy's like, let's play another song, everybody. And like you hear all these people just going, come on. Like, because like the judges just add your score together. It's not hard. It's not hard. Add the score as you score them and hand it to a third party and say, here, add these totals up. Guess what? Team won. You just do it that way. It was just ridiculous. Coach Middle was there too, and positive spark. Congratulations, his daughter won the tumbling contest for her age group. So,
attaboy, Nits.
Yeah, so great, good job for her. But I mean, just the organization that went on at this place was just ridiculous, and every parent in the stands was ready to go choke the DJs upstairs and throw them off the roof.
Spark COVID was looking. Oh, okay. He was mad. He's mad that Louisville and Sebring are not playing. Well, he can go to Springfield and Waterloo, right? Isn't that the game?
Yeah. That's where Billy and Quinn are going.
So, I mean, that game's open. Billy and Quinn can come back and be on Audible Call, and we can have a big party here on Friday night. That is going to do it for the Monday edition of YSN Power Hour. As always, we want to thank everybody who makes it possible. The commenters in the comments section, we appreciate that.
Hey, how do you think I would look if I had a cutoff T-shirt on?
Not good. Not good. Probably like you were on an episode of Cops. But we thank our sponsors, of course. There you see Channel 21 WFMJ, who continually supports us, Greenwood Chevrolet, and so many more. So thank you to them. Thank you to you for tuning in. Until next time, tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on YSN. See you.